We do. Dr. Bird is on his way. It's just, you know.
Yeah, no. Gulf to Bay and Courtney Campbell were both flooded.
Really? That means Drew Street is probably bad too.
Drew wasn't real bad. I came down Drew from Hercules and it wasn't horrible.
It's recording now.
Okay. Usually is less than ideal by now.
And the Queen just died.
I saw that.
No, I've been watching it all day. They've been keeping an eye on their health. It just happened.
Hi, Robert.
I know it's going to happen sooner.
We're waiting for him. Someone's on his way, but the rain's delayed. So I see you're recording, but yeah. How long do you think? 5 minutes. Maybe. Hard to say. Thank you. Bye-bye. Oh, so I can redo the Eric's chair, right?
Yeah. Yeah, Jonathan is vice chair.
Right.
Are we allowed to bring drinks in here? Are we allowed to bring drinks in? Oh, okay. I stuck my coffee down outside.
Oh.
That wasn't 100%.
sunshine out there?
Oh, yeah, beautiful. If you're a frog.
Hi there.
How are you?
How are you doing?
Okay, well, we're going to call to order the Public Art and Design Advisory Board meeting, 2:05. Our first order of business is approval of the minutes from the March 10th, 2022 Public Art and Design Advisory Board meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from March 10th.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Any opposed?
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
The minutes are approved. Next item on the agenda, do we have citizens to be heard regarding items not on the agenda?
I'm not sure if the item is in the agenda or not.
Please come up to the microphone and introduce yourself.
My name is Eliseo Santana. I'm a resident of Clearwater, and actually for quite a while. I'm also the president of LULAC, which is the League of United Latin American Citizens, the largest Hispanic organization in the United States with over 130,000. And I am the president of the council that resides here in Clearwater that covers the Tampa Bay area. We are the largest council in the state of Florida. What I want to first of all, I want to say thank you for your service, and I apologize that this is my first time here before you. There are so many things in life that call for your attention, and so recently I discovered that there was some thought of maybe changing some of the long-term direction that the city has been going. I'm talking about the East Gateway district. As a representative of the Hispanic community, not the only one, and I don't represent everybody, and in reality I'm here before you as a citizen of Clearwater that also have responsibility over many members that reside within the city. We are concerned that area that we were thinking that was going to become a mercado, an essential part of our identity with the city, something that will give the city of Clearwater that flavor of international, of being welcoming, and then attracting and maybe promoting the economics of an area that is now kind of depressed by being able to give it that image, that attractor, that magnet that will bring people from all the area into there. And of course, we feel at home. We feel that it's kind of like us there. So I just want to express to you that I am deeply concerned if any changes happen away from that, and I highly encourage that you continue with the thought processes and the planning that have been carried. I know that my community is often quiet and unspoken, but this is an area that we feel strongly about, and that's why I'm here. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for bringing this to our attention. We work with a number of different groups, and we do love to help neighborhoods identify themselves through public art, which is the area that we are involved with. And so we will take your request under very strong advisement and see what we can do to incorporate in conjunction with your neighborhood something that can help communicate that pride and heritage to the other people of Clearwater as they pass through.
If I can, real quick, I think that's a very strong point to be able to unify our city and to make it into one. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there anybody else?
Hello.
Hello.
It's a pleasure to be here. My name is Juan Mascajay. I am B as in boy, AXCAJAY. Yeah. All right. I am a president.
Sorry, I didn't type it right.
All right. All right.
E-A-X-C-J-A-Y.
Yes.
Sorry.
That's
I
fine.
did type it.
Thank you. Thank you. My name is Juan Vascajaya, as I just said, and I am a president of the Florida Federation of Hidalguenses here in Clearwater. Also, I represent in the office in the Mexican Consulate in Orlando as origin of the indigenous origins in Mexico living in abroad. So we do have a lot of experience with our community, and we do really support the idea that we should save the place, el mercado, little mercado. So we continue the diversity of the communities that we have here in Clearwater. We would like to enrich and participate and to build the city and have the flavor of the Latinos, it's so important to share with the rest of the city our culture, our custom, and of course the culinary arts. It's very, very good. I enjoy stopping by in their area and get some tacos and get some good meals like homemade prepare, because that's what it is. There's so small places there, but all the food that we enjoyed is reminding us our home, So we really appreciate the opportunity and support these ideas that will keep the area and maintain the diversity of the culture. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So there's nobody else that's here to be heard? All right. Thank you. Christopher, is there anything that you would like to add to our?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for the opportunity. I just wanted to state, though the larger project for the East Gateway Festival Corps / Mercado is outside of my purview, the public art component for that area is recommended by staff to be reflective and responsive to the community in which it resides. We have a deep commitment to reflect cultural identities of our communities through our public art acquisitions and commissions. And so staff is recommending that a local artist from that section of Clearwater be represented either as the lead project artist or brought on as an assistant in a mentorship capacity to really reflect that community and the artwork that's provided.
Is that artist to be chosen from the Hispanic community?
There will be an active call to artists. We will indicate that preference or at least a request for an artist of that background, because of the reflection of that community. And then we will review the applicants as they come in. We will also make sure to have someone from that community on our selection panel to provide their response and their guidance into selecting the artist and kind of driving that process for commission.
Fantastic. And can we remind our visitors how to find the artist call? It's on social media, it's in the newspaper, it's cafe artists?
Yes, the call to artists will be released broadly. It will be presented on the city's social media channels, Twitter and Facebook, as well as at myclearwater.com. And it will be on the cafe call for entry website, which is www.callforentry.org.
I had a question. What would the process be, especially for members of the Mercado area, to bring forth proposals or projects or ideas that maybe we're not thinking of or that are not previously on the books. In any particular community, it always seems that the people there might have ideas that, you know, we've never thought of. And is there a process for bringing that forward from those groups?
Sure. I would say that's kind of a bi-phase project, or at least process. The first of which, if there's a dedicated public art allocation in that neighborhood, we can hold a town hall meeting to set the scope and direction that will be provided to the Public Art Committee for that call to artists. And in that way, the community at large, rather than just one resident representative, can voice their ideas and opinions, and those can be sort of collected into the steering purpose of that call to artists. For projects that don't have a current public art process, I would recommend that those citizens join us here at the Public Art Design Board. Or they can also contact me at any point in time, whether there's a project or not. And my email is christopher.hubbard, Hubbard, @myclearwater.com. My phone number is 727-562-4067. I'm happy to field any questions or any responses of interest and make sure that our community's voices can be a part of our selection process.
So any of the gentlemen here could have a meeting and then respond to you, or come to one of the board meetings here and propose, hey, we've got this idea, where do we go from there? What do you guys think about that? Or,
Yes.
or contact you and discuss it back and forth.
Yes, that's correct.
Awesome.
Are there any other questions, comments before we move along?
So what's been yes, thank you. So what's been presented to us here, is this something that you present to the city council for like a broader perspective rather than just our perspective?
What we would do traditionally is that the information gathered here at the Public Art Board or at a town hall meeting
Right.
will be part of the advertising and commission process. Now, when the artist has been selected, the contract for commission will go before council, and at that time I'll have the opportunity to highlight the process by which we arrived at that artist, and indicate that the community has given their feedback and given their direction and what they feel should represent them in a public art commission. So that is a chance for us to show off the artist and the history behind where we got to where we are at that commissioning process.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much. This has been great. This is great, always. We will move on to item 4, which is the new business items. We will review the fiscal year 2022-23 project priorities for the Public Art and Design Program.
Well, good afternoon. I have had the opportunity to go through the 2022-23 fiscal year budget and have found a number of opportunities for public art investment. Now, this will be a process by which I will meet with the directors of each department listed, as well as with our finance division, to determine that the allocations are able to be accessed for public art funds. Occasionally, a funding source will be restrictive, and we won't be able to draw from that source. However, for some projects, they have funding from multiple sources. So in the cases of traditional funding sources, we can utilize those to commission directly a piece of public art for that facility, or if it is a limited access facility, we can pool those funds into our public art fund that can be used to either supplement existing projects or start projects in areas that don't have a capital program commissioned to them. So the first of which is most likely the most visible of future projects, and that would be the new City Hall building. Currently is identified as a infrastructure sales tax or penny for Pinellas funding source of $20,300,000. The 1% allocation is $203,000, which would be for on-site responsive public artwork. Because of the process and the visibility, we would ensure that this artwork is integrated into the overall design, infrastructure, and amenities of that building, making sure that the artwork is complementary and is not looked at as something that might have been added after the design is completed. This project funds the construction of a new city hall at the corner of Pierce Street and Myrtle Avenue. As part of the construction, the city will review other city buildings to determine what operational and energy efficiencies might be possible through departmental relocation. The next project, number 96391, is the gas building in Pasco County. That's funded through the gas fund, which is an enterprise fund of the city, for $1 million. The public art allocation would be for $10,000. Now, in small allocations, these can be reserved for smaller scale public artwork to be hung on walls or installed in major public areas, or they can be, like I said, pooled with another project to enhance that project's budget for greater capacity. Now, this project provides funding for the purchase of property and construction of a training facility within the Clearwater gas system distribution territory that allows for the purchase of property and the construction of a remote warehouse within Pasco County. Now, this may not be a publicly accessible site. As I learn more about this project, I may recommend from staff that we allocate these funds to another gas project or to another another equivalent project. Oh my goodness, it's been a day. Another equivalent project that would have more public access. Project 2301, Pasco Gate Station, from the gas fund at $1,500,000, allocation of $15,000 for art. This project will provide for the purchase of land and construction of a new natural gas gate station in Pasco County. The gate station will add capacity in our Pasco service area to serve new and existing customers and rely less on gas supply from TECO Peoples Gas interconnections. This increases the gas supply capacity and reliability to Clearwater gas system customers. Again, this may be a more operational site with the same recommendations upon further information. Project 2302, rebuild the solid waste administration complex. Solid waste fund, $13,500,000. The art allocation would be $135,000. This project funds construction costs to replace the aging buildings and infrastructure at the solid waste complex. It includes a replacement of administrative offices, recycling transfer facility, new truck wash facility, and upgrades to the fuel site, which includes electric charging infrastructure. Design and planning for the complex renovation will include sustainability and resiliency elements which link to the city's green print plan. Now, this could be a major influencer in the scope of the work if it may incorporate the elements of that facility as well as sustainable practices or materials. This complex does front Hercules Avenue, so it is a major thoroughfare and site that many people would be able to see from the roadway if they don't directly go into the facility. It also is a collection site for recyclables, as well as a pickup site for remulched materials. So it is heavily utilized on the outside of the facility. So it may be a good potential site for exterior artwork. Next up, this is one of those that I would need to check on the funding sources more closely, but it is the Project 96773 Groundwater Replenishment Facility. government revenue fund of $16,358,000, and water revenue at $17,900,000. Pat, I've got all these that I will
Thank you.
give to you as well. They're all written out. So as far as those budgets, the total art allocation is $342,580. This project provides funding for a microfiltration, reverse osmosis, advanced oxidization, 3.0 million gallons a day water purification plant, purified water pipelines with injection wells to replenish the local aquifer. This project would be a limited access facility because of the utility nature of it. However, because of those large scale funds, it may qualify to have some exterior artwork at that existing facility, depending on how they want to place that within the public right-of-way. Again, similar background, Project 96782, reverse osmosis plant at water treatment facility number 3. Water revenue system at $18,767,500 with a public art allocation of $187,675. This project provides funding for a treatment system to reduce regulated constituents levels in the raw water, total dissolved solids, including arsenic, etc., that serves as a source water for water treatment plant number 3. Again, limited access facility, could be paired with the groundwater replenishment facility if they do share a complex to make for one really large-scale public artwork. Next project is Engineering Fund 180012, Public Works Complex. Funding sources are general fund at $4,247,270, infrastructure sales tax / penny for Pinellas at $7,200,000, stormwater fund at $2,498,200, and water revenue funds of $11,461,550, for a total art allocation of $254,069. This project provides for the redevelopment of the city's public works complex located at 1650 North Arcturus Avenue. Facilities within the complex are dated and are not expected to withstand hurricane force winds. The public works complex plays a critical role in disaster recovery efforts on behalf of Clearwater citizens. Redevelopment of the PWC, or Public Works Complex, includes demolition of nearly all existing buildings and new construction of hardened structures to accommodate utilities, stormwater, streets and sidewalks, traffic, urban forestry, survey, and storage for information technology. New construction will be designed to reduce energy demand, evaluate the feasibility of solar installation, and utilize recycled materials where appropriate. Again, a source of some inspiration when it comes to the civic participation in reconstruction efforts after a large disaster, as well as utilizing some of those recycled materials and sustainability inspiration to provide direction for the public art allocation of this site. This is located near a residential area, so it provides an opportunity for engaging the local community in the design and possibly fabrication or overall scope of the project. It is also nearby to a school, and so an opportunity for, I believe it is a middle school students to take part in the discussion or at least interaction with the artist in this process. Next is a engineering parking fund number 24XX, downtown parking garage, which is on a lot of people's minds when it comes to Imagine Clearwater. This is funded through the parking fund at $23 million for an allocation of $230,000. This project provides for the construction of a downtown parking garage near Pierce and Fort Harrison to serve the proposed new City Hall, Imagine Clearwater, general public, and downtown businesses. I've seen a lot of really interesting and accessible parking garage enhancements through public art. whether it be on the infrastructure of the facility itself or added sculpture to the exterior, and in some cases, enhancements to the top deck that can be seen from buildings around in the area. And so, as this design progresses, I will be on the lookout for those opportunities on integrating artwork and design into that. With a $230,000 budget that's rather hefty for public art, it could be split into multiple projects at this site. It will no doubt be heavily accessed and utilized, especially as Imagine Clearwater comes online and more people are using downtown parking for events and festivals.
Will it be a free parking garage?
I do not know. That is a good question. Unfortunately, at this time, I don't know, and it is outside of my purview.
I wonder if there's any possibility of there actually being, excuse me, art within the garage. 'Cause often we see buildings, different parking garages I've seen, that they look beautiful on the outside, and then on the inside, they're always just concrete, and you feel like you're in the bowels of some industrial kind of thing, but.
Yeah. It is worth taking a look into. I haven't noticed, I've certainly noticed how they feel and look. I hadn't thought of that before, and it's a brilliant idea, a way of making our infrastructure feel more human.
Some light and, maybe
As you're
things
circling
connected
around.
to, things connected to the community, to the Mercado neighborhood, to the beach neighborhoods, maybe reflect some of those things.
Yeah. Could be used as wayfinding as well, helping you locate where you did park.
Exactly, excellent.
All right, I'll take that under advice, thank you. Project C2211, main library renovation, general fund of $575,000, public art allocation of $5,750. This project funds the transformation of the first floor of the main library into a one-stop destination that supports and enhances citizen use of the new Coachman Park and the downtown district by locating the library's most used resources and services there. This is a smaller public art allocation. However, I do feel, in my opinion, this is one of those sites that would be heavily utilized and would be one of those that would be significantly improved by an allocation from the Public Art Fund. So this project has been in a few fiscal year budgets in the past. If it is initiated within the 2022-23 budget, I'll be back to speak with you about enhancements for that to maximize public access. Project 93272, bicycle paths and bridges from the infrastructure sales tax / penny for Pinellas at $2,500,000. So that's an art allocation of $25,000. This project provides for the construction and renovation of recreation trails throughout the city for walking, jogging, inline skating, bicycling, and equestrian uses. Projects may include segments of the Ream-Wilson Trail, Bayshore Drive Trail, Courtney Campbell Causeway Trail, trails within park boundaries, and transportation connector trails. Funding in the 22-23 fiscal year budget is planned for the pedestrian overpass at State Road 60, as well as a connector trail from the Pinellas Trail to Seminole Dock. That overpass that it mentions is near the beach on the Courtney Campbell Causeway. It would be from Bayshore across the street to the south side of the causeway, allowing for pedestrians and bicyclists to go over the roadway rather than have to go on a pedestrian crosswalk. So that provides an opportunity there, as well as there are some recommendations in the 2022-28 Arts and Cultural Strategic Plan for incorporating public art into existing trail systems, identifying different pathways, each reflecting a different medium or different style of artwork, and paying homage to our city's creativity, culture, environment, and history. So this might be an ideal spot for us to begin looking at that and incorporating those into the design of our trails.
How, when it comes to, like, say, bicycle paths, say, bridges, is there a relationship between that extra money set aside for art and architectural choices? You know, if we decided we don't actually want to put any art or painting or whatever up for that bridge, but we'd like a really awesome bridge architectural-wise, and want to give maybe some of the money to the city to help facilitate something architecturally interesting that they wouldn't normally done. Is that handled any particular way, or?
Let me respond to that unless you've got one.
Yeah, so I just wanted to say that, you know, that we have the money from the government, you know, we've got $1 million. So it seems to me that's the opportunity right there for us to do really what we'd like to do, to serve the public and integrate the public in a way that they don't always have to pay for everything. So this is a nice way for the public to have a use to get from one side of the street to the other side of the street, essentially, with money that you already have in the budget, and that we will have more money to do that kind of thing around Clearwater. Does that make sense?
I just did have a point of question on the $1 million. Is that project funds, or where would that?
Yeah, so that's part of the funds for public, I have to look it up, the correct title of it, but it's sort of the nonprofit for the arts.
Okay. That out of, I believe, if you're referencing the ARPA program, that is for grants related to nonprofit organizations working in the city.
Yes?
So that'll be a grant application-based allocation. So a nonprofit may, this is a hypothetical, may choose to invest in a public art component, but those funds are to be separate from the Public Art Design Board or program.
Right, and it doesn't include infrastructure.
No, those are organizational grants.
But the $1 million does include infrastructure, and would that be the kind of overpass type of thing that we're talking about?
Well, it's
Or
a.
am I confused about
It's
that?
a separate bucket. Essentially, the council, when they were dividing ARPA funding, they chose a number of different buckets to put that funding into. So this one in particular, they wanted to provide funding to our Clearwater arts and cultural and historical groups to be able to apply for assistance on projects that they're currently invested in, improvements to their facility, or to create new programs to reach more residents. And so it's a application-based grant opportunity, and these are for programs that in some way serve and educate the residents of Clearwater.
Separate.
Separate, yeah.
Gotcha.
So, and then
Thank
you know, these funds that we're referencing here, these are out of the general operating fund in the capital improvement program, as well as other funding sources like Penny for Pinellas and other.
Right, that you referred to the last time we had a meeting.
Yes, ma'am. Dr. Bird, going back to your question, you had mentioned about enhancements to architecture with the existing project. We do have the ability to contract with architects, as that is considered one of our eligible disciplines within public art. Per the funding allocation for the program, it would need to be from an architect not already associated with the project, just to make sure to keep that process clean and separate for the public art allocation. What definitely could happen is that, yes, like we've done with some DOT, Department of Transportation projects, the artwork could be a component of the existing infrastructure or materials, like the modular walls on the State Road 60 US 19 overpass, or into, you know, whether it be the beams or the individual components of the bridge itself. Now, it is one of those that we would be cognizant of the shared costs of materials as well as the public art enhancement, and we would work closely with the project architect, the construction managers, and finance to ensure that that proper balance is there. But there are some cost-saving ways of incorporating art as a means of enhancing what would normally be a municipal-looking piece of equipment. So,
Thank you.
all right. Any other questions on that item? Okay. Item C2209, neighborhood park renovations, also funded through the infrastructure sales tax or penny for Pinellas at $1,200,000 with a public art allocation of $12,000. This project provides for renovation and improvements needed at various neighborhood parks in the city. Currently, the city maintains and manages over 100 parks in the city, ranging from small 1-acre parks to larger community parks. Many of these parks are in need of refurbishment and repair from years of continued use by the public. The city continues to perform maintenance on all of these parks to keep them in safe operating conditions. However, this fund was established to make needed capital improvements and renovations. Parks like Bay Park on Sand Key, Coachman Ridge Park, Forest Run Park, Sewell Road Park, etc., all have various needs to be addressed. Also, there are several parks that have little or no facilities, and this project will allow for the city to address these needs. This is another initiative or project that I will harken back to the 22 through 28 Cultural Arts Strategic Plan, as it recommends that public art and arts and cultural initiatives and funding go towards more community and neighborhood accessible projects. This is a great opportunity through enhancements to these neighborhood parks to include artwork of its own or artwork included in the infrastructure of those projects that are done at these sites that are brought up, as well as others contained within the capital improvement program of the Parks Department. I would say that these are a number of projects that could be brought on a case-by-case basis to the Public Art Board and enhanced where necessary, because the $12,000 will be quickly diminished on maybe just one project. But we do have allocated funding annually towards the Arts and Culture Strategic Plan implementation, so we can use that as a funding source as well as public art fund dollars to enhance these projects as makes sense. Another park renovation, C27XX, is the Woodgate Park. That's infrastructure sales tax, penny for Pinellas, $1,800,000, public art allocation for $18,000. This project would provide for the renovation and construction of 2 lighted multipurpose fields, improved parking, and restrooms at Woodgate Park. This is on Countryside Boulevard, just to the west of US 19. Renovations are planned to include regrading the large open space area, installation of irrigation and sports turf, as well as energy-efficient lighting to accommodate the demand for multi-purpose fields used by sports such as soccer, lacrosse, and football. In addition, the parking areas at the park will be improved, as well as the restroom renovated. So we've got some non-traditional options at this park. It is a very popular basketball park. A lot of players can be seen from Enterprise Road as you weave around into Countryside. And so perhaps some non-traditional enhancements to sports equipment or enhancement to the pavement itself might be interesting there. It certainly presents a unique opportunity for blending the spirit of Parks and Recreation with some public art allocation there. C28XX, McMullen Tennis renovation, also a infrastructure sales tax / penny for Pinellas at $700,000. So the public art allocation is $7,000. In short, this project will provide for the construction of a new clubhouse with locker room, showers, meeting room, offices, and a small merchandise shop. So it may be that we incorporate some form of photography with a kind of history of the facility, or we choose to pool those funds elsewhere or find some smaller allocation of public art for that site. It is a heavily utilized facility, so if there's a way of incorporating some appropriately scaled public artwork into that facility, it would make sense. Next up is one of those that I have a question on. However, there is infrastructure sales tax, penny for Pinellas funding. This is Clearwater Harbor Marina replacement and upgrade. Penny for Pinellas at $3 million. Clearwater Harbor Marina Fund at $600,000, which would be a total of $36,000 in public art. This project provides for the funding of the replacement upgrade of major dock components, piles, wave attenuators, gangway, finger piles, and the like, as the marina facility ages beyond the original 10-year warranty period. New marina technologies will be considered when replacement opportunities present themselves. This is a highly visible site as it's located just to the west of Coachman Park and Imagine Clearwater. The current piece that has been stationed near there prior to construction is the sails done by, goodness, I can't remember his name right now, but Robert Middens, yes, Middens, thank you. Middens has been temporarily relocated to a safe area of the construction zone and will be placed at the base of the pedestrian walkway leading out to the marina boat slips. The sculpture will be put back in its original condition, as well as the lights, just resited. So it's as if it never really changed, just jumped probably about 30 or 40 feet to the north. And so enhancements could be done as far as adding those funds to the Imagine Clearwater project and creating some more opportunities via rotating temporary sculpture through interactive public sculpture or interactive technology at the site that families and visitors could use to, I guess you could say, make the park come to life in ways that we might not originally have municipal ways of doing that, via some kind of interactivity with AR features or through emergent technology to create work that isn't there, overlaid to be there. So those are some unique opportunities there. The public art allocation for that would be $36,000, so that could certainly fund a couple of rotating sculptures for a number of years, or could go into some other funding sources for enhanced work at the site.
I don't mean this to be a curveball. It was just a question that occurred to me. When you were talking about parks, and especially that park, one of the things that I've noticed sometimes in that park particularly is the presence of transient and homeless people there. And I'm wondering, is there a way that art can reach out to those people or be relevant to them as well? Because as marginalized as they are, they're still residents, or maybe not official residents, I don't know. But is that something that's been considered or?
Well, they're certainly users of the park, and I think that the artwork or what we commission should be responsive to users. And so I think we've got an opportunity there of looking into ways of really making those humanitarian connections through art and the power that art brings to create experiences or create a sense of place. It warrants some more research into see what other cities have done in a way that makes a number of different users feel welcome, and in some non-traditional ways as well. So I know that we'll have to be very purposeful in how we approach or tackle a problem like that. But it is definitely worth some good research to look at some possibilities.
I imagine it connects with whatever the city of Clearwater's thoughts are and policies are as far as homeless and.
We would abide by what the city has implemented so far. Yeah.
Is where the midden sculpture is Cliff Garden?
Cliff Garden, thank you so
Yes,
much.
I looked it up. The sidewalk around that sculpture had been in the shape of the hurricane thing. Is that still there, or is that going to be incorporated again in the park somehow?
It's intended to be incorporated again
Okay.
around the outside of that main walkway. It will be, if it hasn't been already, taken up as part of the reconstruction. But when I spoke with the construction managers at risk for that project, I told them that the entire midden mound as well as the sidewalk around it were considered the boundaries of the piece.
Oh,
So, yeah. Thank you. All right, 3 more. I know this is a long list. Certainly for me is an imposing list as how these projects come online, if I will need to clone myself a few times moreover. But next one is C-2001, Athletic Fields and Facility Renovations and Improvements. This is an infrastructure sales tax / penny per Pinellas at $2,650,000. Public art allocation of $26,500. This project provides funding for much-needed renovations and construction of athletic facilities needed to meet the demands for sports fields and facilities and to accommodate sports tourism. Projects planned for renovations and improvements include the city's share of an agreement with the Phillies, which could include renovations at both Carpenter and Baycare Ballpark. And additional fields that may be improved include Ross Norton, Frank Tack Park, Countryside Sports Complex, Joe DiMaggio Sports Complex, Sid Lichten Complex, and the Eddie C. Moore Complex. These are all extremely utilized parks and a chance to really involve some users of our parks that are not traditionally, associated with the arts. Sports tourism gives us a new audience that is not our traditional audience for arts and culture. So whether it be at a large format park like Baycare Ballpark or a heavily utilized park like Eddie C. Moore, where sports and tournaments come through, we've got a really unique opportunity. So I'll be in close discussion with the Parks Department as far as incorporating some innovative ideas in how we merge our two interests. I know that the Parks Director has been supportive of really integrating arts and culture into the design and use of the parks. So through some conversations with them, we'll look for those really natural pairings of just ways of bringing a little more pizzazz to the sports complex. Long Center major renovations, project 2202, infrastructure sales tax, penny per Pinellas of $5 million, general fund of $5 million, which is a total art allocation of $100,000. This project will provide funding to upgrade the Long Center natatorium, which I recently learned is the swimming pool. But most specifically the structure around it to make it an indoor swimming pool or enclosed. Improvements include replacement of the Dectron unit that is currently being utilized to dehumidify the enclosed pool area with appropriately sized HVAC systems, upgraded ductwork and controls for new mechanical systems, replacement of the entire exterior glazed envelope, repair and reinforce structural frame to support new exterior glaze system, painting, roof replacement, and restroom renovation. So it's a mouthful, but what it boils down to is that the cage or glassed enclosure around the pool will be redone, which gives us an opportunity of looking into either vinyl skins or architectural glass to be incorporated into that, to really add to the visual appeal of that structure. $100,000 can be utilized for a lot of vinyl. And if done correctly, can, architectural glass art through fused glass panels, wisely spent, can really make that building pop. So we've got some really good opportunity there.
Is there going to be a focus there at the Long Center to incorporate residents of ARC because they kind of use the same property, the same facility?
Yeah,
I think that would be a really good resource.
I think so too. And there are a lot of artistic programs that really span the users of the facility, be it ARC, the Aging Well Center, and some hopefully soon-to-be arts and cultural programming back in our rec centers. So, I think the possibilities of really uniting the broad spectrum of users out there would be great. Yeah. Thank you. Last project. C2204, soccer field renovation at Eddie C. Moore. General funds of $1,060,000. Project provides for the renovation of 2 major soccer fields at Eddie C. Moore Complex, which have been used by club soccer for over 36 years. Unfortunately, when these fields were constructed, they were constructed on 2 levels, which does not allow for the most optimal use of the land for soccer play, at times causing the lower field to flood and not be used under current conditions. This project will completely renovate these fields by leveling them off, installing new irrigation, sod, fencing, and lighting. So this is really heavily used by citizen leagues and would be a great opportunity to involve them in the design and the idea of public art at the site in a way that enhances the facility. This can be viewed from Drew Street, so it may be, and again, another opportunity for non-traditional work that's included in the infrastructure of that.
How much was the public art?
Allocation is $10,600. So, all in total, for fiscal years starting in 22-23, projected out into fiscal year 2027-28, public art allocations of $2,716,117. This number is subject to change, for a variety of reasons, but also confirmation of the accessibility of those funding sources to use for public art. I will keep you appraised at developments for this, and I will be bringing each project that is eligible for public art to you as part of our commission system.
I just had one question. I think I've asked this before, and you've explained it clearly, and I just probably forgot.
It's okay.
But so I was thinking, especially with the small parks and all, are there, does the city put notices as we're thinking about artwork in those parks, or how do we reach out to residents who might, I walk my dog, we've got a very small little park around a pond, and we walk our dog past there, and we would see if they said, considering public art options for this in the next year, go to this website or something, people would see that there.
Yeah, what we traditionally do, and I think this is due for a modern upgrade, is go through the homeowners associations for those neighborhoods that are around the project, and they'll usually let their residents know of either meetings coming up or opportunities to participate. I think what we can do, and as part of the Office of Innovation that I'm in now, with the neighborhoods manager, is really reach out to people in ways that reach them in ways that they use. And so be that signage around trails and connection areas, through Nextdoor app, through Facebook, through other ways of inviting them to essentially a town hall to be part of the process. All public art selection meetings are open to the public, so that's from the beginning all the way on up to the commission process with council. So folks have an opportunity to join us, to contribute their ideas and their thoughts. And though unfortunately we do keep the numbers usually kind of lower, around 5 to 7 for the selection panel, that doesn't mean that citizens can't come and be part of the citizens to be heard process for those meetings, or have questions as we, kind of move through the commission cycle.
Yeah, I know the city does post, I see them post on Nextdoor once in a while, if there's an accident or, road closure or something like that. So, your office posting on those particular neighborhoods would probably reach at least half the people
Yes.
in those
Yes,
neighborhoods.
our neighborhoods manager is really looking for all different ways of getting the word out and connecting with residents. So, yeah. All right. Any final questions on item 4.1?
It's very impressive, all of the things that the city has planned as far as upgrades to infrastructure and water and waste and all of that. It's very exciting.
We're doing a lot.
It's a lot.
Is there somebody in the Parks and Rec that is, readily accessible to talk to if somebody in the community has any concerns beyond the art? I have found it difficult to
Okay.
communicate with them. And my idea could be partnered with art, but I have to get to stage 1 first.
Okay. I'm certainly a conduit for things involving art, or, ideas of a merger between the two, of parks and art. But for, general concerns or questions, I would say that the best way, although it can be busy sometimes, is to call the Parks and Recreation General line.
Okay.
562-4800.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, then moving on to old business items.
Okay, thank you. Item 5.1, review and update on the Clearwater Arts Alliance signal box installation at Sunset Point Road and Kings Highway. So I just have a picture from the dedication of that new signal box. This is a project of the Clearwater Arts Alliance and the Arts for Life Cultural Academy. And one of the teachers at the facility worked with the students there to design, it's in the background there, but to design a signal box that represents the multiculturalism at Arts for Life Academy. And so he designed a very iconic work that incorporates A for L into the design, but done in a traditional African style that's used to reference community participation, and included positive aphorisms within the design itself. The kids then came out to the site when it was being installed and signed their names to the base, and it was a really delightful project to see them be part of, to kind of exert their artistic talents. And so, this is really one of those hallmarks of a really well-done, successful, community-engaged project. So I want to congratulate the Clearwater Arts Alliance and Arts for Life on a project well done. Item 5.2, unless there are any other questions on that one. Current public art fund balance?
Does anyone in the audience want to talk to any of these items?
Oh, okay.
After each item, you really should ask if
Oh.
anybody wants.
Thank you.
Bob.
Okay. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to ask anything or point on these items? Yes? You need to come forward, please, and stand at the podium.
again. I was just listening carefully.
You need to give your name each time you get up.
Okay,
But I know how to spell.
okay. Thank you again. My name is Juan Mascahay. I was just listening carefully all about the buckets that the city have, and as a non-profit organization, we run programs like educations, arts, music, dance. I'm wondering if any possibility that the organization can be funding in order to support all these programs that we have. During the summer, we invite teachers from Mexico to come and teach all about culture, about history, the origin language in Mexico called Ñañú, and culinary arts, of course, music, dance. And we do this program for 6 weeks every year. The reason we do it in 6 weeks because this is where we find out that kids can handle, that much time. We used to run it for 2 months, but kids after every day they get tired and then they go ready to go back to school. So we accommodate in order the kids enjoy this program. And during the year we have a dance group. So dance group also we supporting them as members, but it would be nice if we get some funds so we can run this program much fluently, much easier. And of course we do a lot of programs. We help the adults as well to renew their documents. We run a program every 3 months with the Mexican consulate in Orlando. We invite them to come here at the City of Clearwater and provide the renewal of documents to the community who needs it.
I think that what your organization is doing is fantastic and absolutely needed in the community. Christopher referenced earlier how people could write up what it was that they needed, and if it comes under the umbrella of a public art project that we might be working on or in a location, then that information can be taken into consideration. And if not, as discussed earlier, there are available grants and those types of things.
Okay.
So
Who do I direct it to in order to?
my recommendation is that you reach out to Christopher.
Thank you, Chris.
Um,
Okay,
Yes.
absolutely. Thank you very much.
And he's happy to direct you.
All right, beautiful. Thank you.
Is there anybody else? Okay, great. We can go on to item 5.2 now.
Just if I may?
Yes, please. I'm
Okay,
sorry, I
thank you.
apologize.
Just additional information is, through some of our other arms of cultural affairs, there may be some partnership opportunities for programs like that. Most notably our Sister Cities program. We are currently in the process of adopting a new sister city with Ixmiquilpan in Mexico, which is in the state of Hidalgo. And I think it's very appropriate to begin some of these new partnerships with that program as well. So in addition to other funding sources, I think we're at a really interesting time in developing kind of our outreach programs to our citizens.
Very exciting.
All right. Let's see. Item 5.2. Current public art fund balance is $132,715. This may fluctuate as some funds are deposited into that program once established, or rather earmarked through the capital improvement process. So I'll work with Finance Division, highlight those, and then hopefully if they're moved over in first quarter, of the new year, which will start October 1, I'll be able to provide you with an updated balance reflecting those allocations. Go on.
Thank you. Comments? Okay, 5.3.
Item 5.3, review and update on the Crest Lake Park Public Art Project. This project has been going on for a very long time. We had some progress, got slow for a little bit, had some more progress. I was speaking with an installer from the East Coast. They were interested in participating, assisting us, and then they added in their travel bill, and it became way too much for us to justify the expense of partnering with them. Thankfully, we're going to partner with a provider out of St. Petersburg. They have much more local crews and access to the heavy equipment that we need to transport and to install the sculptures. We're in the process of working between the installer and the artist right now to coordinate the pickup, movement, and installation. However, when that process gets going, it'll be a matter of days of just the installation because it's a locally created homegrown project essentially, which has a lot of advantages. Unfortunately, due to COVID and timing and just ensuring we're proper stewards of the budget for this, it had a series of delays. But we are moving forwards again. I look forward, though I don't want to put a date on it yet because of the slowness, I do anticipate that it will be done sooner than the end of this year.
Fantastic. Questions? Comments?
Every time we ask if there's comments.
I looked at them. Are there any comments from out there,
Thank you.
from our visitors? Okay, thank you.
State the law.
Then I will abide. Yes. Okay. 5.4, please.
Item 5.4, review and update on the Clearwater Police Substation 3 project. That project has also slowed. The construction is moving along, but slower than anticipated. We do have the opportunity of an enhanced section that the construction managers were able to set aside for artwork at the site. It's located at the western entrance approach to the public area. This is on the west facade of the building. I unfortunately do not have my schematic with me today, but the west facade of the building that faces the public parking section. So anyone from the public that comes to visit this facility would be smack in front of the public art inclusion. So this presents itself really as a great opportunity for mural, mosaic, or a combination of the two. We've spoken with the police department on some of the aspirational themes that they'd like to showcase for this. It is a facility that is not typically publicly accessible, but that front area is. If anyone has questions or needs to do interviews with the police department for good or bad. But hopefully through the inclusion of public artwork, we can add some softness to the facility. It's the architecture of the facility is very pointy, so it's a way that we can add some color and some warmth to the building.
Fun to the police.
And yeah,
Fun.
fun for the police.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fun to the police.
Oh, fun,
You can
fun,
add some
fun for everyone.
For visiting
You know.
the police department.
Hopefully, yes, bringing some positive vibes, if you will, or to use the vernacular of today, to their experience. And public art, when done well, can really change the way a facility feels.
Absolutely. Questions, comments? Are there any questions, comments from our concerned citizens? Okay, thank you. 5.5,
Item 5.5, review and update on the Clearwater Fire Department Station 46 project. So the original Station 46 has been demoed, and we are maintaining some of the pieces from that facility for posterity, but also maybe as some inspiration for use out at the site. I've been coordinating with the construction managers for that project, and they have set aside a public art area that is just to the west of Mandalay Avenue. It is an area that we were considering before. They've just added some structural elements to support a variety of artwork out at the site, as well as lighting. They've put in a junction box out there for us to utilize. Additionally, the underdeck space on the first floor, which is essentially an alcove on the east facade and the south facade of the building, is available for inclusion of public artwork or a merger of public art and history at the site, as the fire station has a rather large collection of badges and patches from other stations around the world, as that site is really frequented a lot by visitors from out of town. And one of their stops is usually to the fire station to change patches with them. So it provides itself to be a really cool postcard moment for visitors to take their photograph with the public art out there, as well as a nice inclusion to the beach atmosphere out there, enhancing the architecture and design of the facility.
what is the timeline on that now?
Timeline is within the next month, we'll have our first public art meeting and then do our town hall for the site. So that would occur in October. Then next month after that would be our call to artists phase, and we would expect to have our first round of review in the late winter of 2023, with selection being the spring of 2023.
Gotcha. Any other questions, comments? Questions, comments from our visiting citizens? Okay, thank you. Okay, do you have anything more on that before we move to item 6?
Nothing more on 5.5?
Okay. Director's report that has not already been reported.
I've got 2 items. One, I want to make sure to recognize the Clearwater Historical Society, and the president, Allison Dolan, just wants to speak a little bit to the board. So I will turn it over to her. Where would you like to go?
Mural. We'll go after.
I'll leave it to you.
How are y'all doing? I'm Allison Dolan with the Clearwater Historical Society.
I'm sorry, what is your name?
Allison Dolan, ALLISONDOLAN. I'm with the Clearwater Historical Society. Y'all funded a mural for us. We took it a step further, so we wanted to show that to y'all. Now I gotta find this thing. Okay, here we go. So what we did was we did a video, and wait, I guess I can open there. So we took it, the artist, Tim Boatwright, he got really into our thing, and then he had a friend who does sound, and then my vice president, he used to be on the radio, so you'll hear his voice. And so we took it a step further. We made a QR code that's now going to be at the mural. You can see exactly what it is. It's also on our website, our YouTube page, and then so it's actually we've got it down from 15 to 7 minutes, which is kind of not easy to do. Hold on, let me get it to work. No. So we wanted to share it with y'all. It's not coming up. I know if I keep clicking on it, this is my way of doing this. I can't shut it off. That's my second. So we took this and we took pictures to add to the mural itself. so that it would, I don't know. I guess it's the website.
Is it on your website?
Yeah.
Okay.
It'll be easier. So it took me forever to try to get this to come on there, didn't want to do it. So sorry.org. Okay. So this is our website. So we, let's see if we can get this to do this.
Historical Society unveiled the Discover Clearwater mural in February 2022 to celebrate our unique story and beautiful natural assets. Commissioned in 2021 and created by mural artist Tim Boatwright and the Vitale brothers, let us guide you through some local history. Up top is Discover Clearwater in classic postcard-style typography. Tourism has always been very important to our local economy. We have the most beautiful white sandy beaches, glowing sunsets, and so much more to offer visitors from around the world. The iconic Pier 60 is a centerpiece of Clearwater Beach, extending 1,089 feet into the Gulf. One of the best equipped fishing piers in Florida, it offers great fishing, shopping, entertainment, and incredible sunsets. The beautiful heron represents our abundant nature and wildlife. In the lower half of the mural, we meet Captain James P. McMullen, one of the earliest settlers in the Tampa Bay area. By 1848, he and his Florida Cracker family became successful citrus growers and cattlemen who owned great parts of the land that eventually became known as Pinellas County. McMullen Booth Road is a major highway named to honor the pioneering clan. What do most Olympic sailors have in common? They started their competitive sailing careers racing the International Opti Dinghy sailboat, designed in Clearwater. Its forerunner, the Optimist Pram, was the vision of Clark Mills, who in 1947 was asked by Major Clifford McKay to design a small boat for junior sailors. It took off and became popular around the globe. In 2017, innovative boat builder Clark Mills was inducted into the U.S. Sailing Hall of Fame. Mrs. Christine Wigfall Morris was the first African American to become a librarian in Clearwater, Florida. She attended a segregated high school in Clearwater, studied home economics and English at Bethune-Cookman University, and inspired generations of local children to enjoy reading. The ball player is Bobby Forbes, the youngest player for the renowned Clearwater Bombers. He made the Bombers in 1941 at age 14. From there, he became one of the most feared left-handed hitters in fast-pitch softball. In their heyday, the Bombers won 10 national titles and finished second 8 other times. They won over 4,000 games, placed 24 members in the National Softball Hall of Fame, and appeared in 45 national tournaments, more than any other team. The team traveled throughout the United States, Canada, Cuba, and Puerto Rico. Bobby Forbes, who played right field and first base, was later drafted by the Pittsburgh Pirates. The old-style golfer represents the Clearwater Country Club. The first 9 holes and the clubhouse opened January 26, 1921, and Mrs. Ellen Simons hit the first shot down the fairway beyond the first bunker. 2 years later, an 18-hole golf course opened, divided by a railroad and creek that were incorporated as features on several holes, making the day on the links even more challenging. Famous celebrities, including Babe Ruth and Bob Hope, enjoyed golfing at the country club, and the course was among the first to allow women to play. Clearwater Jazz Holiday has brought musical stars to Clearwater every October since 1980. Greats like Herbie Mann, Dave Brubeck, Buddy Guy, George Benson, Chicago, the Avett Brothers, UB40, Sheryl Crow, Michael McDonald, and Kenny Loggins. The list goes on. The Capitol Theater, now the Nancy and David Bilheimer Capitol Theater, built in 1921, has provided the very best in performing arts. A century of patrons have enjoyed musical acts and entertainment at this cultural gem in downtown Clearwater. From vaudevillian Sally Rand to B.B. King, Chris Christopherson, Don McLean, Lucinda Williams, and Winona Judd, the acclaimed and historic theater puts on a great show. Peacocks are native to India, Asia, and Africa, not Florida. They can be found in the Greenbrier neighborhood in Clearwater, descended from the Seville Peacock Farm, a long-gone tourist attraction on Gulf to Bay Boulevard, closed in the 1930s. The peacocks were raised for their fashionable tail feathers, especially popular in hats in the Roaring '20s. The warm and humid Florida climate is perfect for growing gladioli and made Clearwater one of the leading producers of the gorgeous and colorful plant. First planted in 1926, tens of thousands of acres were cultivated, making Florida the gladiolus capital of the world. Cut before they bloomed, the glads were sorted, packaged, and shipped across the U.S. and Europe to arrive in full bloom for the florist. Just imagine the beauty. Our subtropical climate also proved ideal for citrus. First brought to the New World by Christopher Columbus, oranges and grapefruits have been farmed commercially in Florida since the mid-1800s, when pioneer Odette Felipe established the county's first citrus grove. Pinellas became one of the top citrus-producing counties in Florida. Henry Plant, the famous Central and West Florida developer of the late 1800s, helped put Clearwater on the map. His standard gauge railroad through Pinellas County prompted passenger travel and attracted wealthy northern guests to his grand resort hotels, the Bellevue Biltmore and the Tampa Bay Hotel. His son, Morton F. Plant, donated and raised money for the city's first hospital in 1914. We love sports in the Tampa Bay area, and that includes the Philadelphia Phillies Major League Baseball team. The Phillies have held spring training in Clearwater since the 1940s. Red, bright pink, yellow, and orange hibiscus are everywhere you look in Clearwater at almost any time of year. They are native to warm, temperate, subtropical, and tropical climates like Clearwater. And for that, we are thankful. If you love local history, the Clearwater Historical Museum and Cultural Center has much to discover. Welcome to Clearwater, Florida.
So that's, now you get to see where your money went. And when we put it up, you can see the entire thing there. We had one of our donors, if you actually saw the spot beforehand, it looked like, death. But so they brought us all brand new grass, and then the women's club came in and put flowers in there. So now, and they bought flowers to match the mural. So that the whole section, when you sit there, and the school board had left a outdoor classroom there. So now you can sit there, now you can watch a movie, and you can do this. And so we want to thank y'all very much for, letting us do that. It's been very, one of those things that we've really enjoyed. And I wish I could have brought it with you today, but they're actually making it, is the, here it is. This is what the QR code's going to look like now. So this will be, we're having a sign made to sit right next to the mural, and it's, has everything just what you just saw. And then we'll have them inside the museum, and it'll be on all of our things. So, and then I figured I'd go ahead and tell y'all that we're going to come back for another one. When we were coming for this one of the questions y'all had was it could be interactive, and I'm like, well, it's kind of 2 stories tall, and I'm not putting a ladder there. So that put a thought in our mind. So we have a blank wall. So if you go down to the museum, you can see where there's a blank wall sitting right there. It faces South Fort Harrison, and it's where we store the Fulmer collection. And we thought, hey, what can we do that's interactive? And so we came up with the idea of coming with the logo from the 1950s because it's simple and it's really right above your head too. But to kind of use that, but where you would stand an average person, they'll have the whole sun behind them, and then they'll have the city of Clearwater, so that when you take that postcard moment, you can send that to everybody and you can remember where you were. And it's walkable right from the street. And now that we have the Jolly Trolley there, we have people wandering aimlessly all the time. So if you haven't done that, we're also working with the Jolly Trolley on a historic tour, so it'll pick up right there, and they'll, it'll be another way for everybody to interact with the city of Clearwater.
Great.
So I want to thank y'all again.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Does anybody have any questions? Because I can really talk, so it's all right. Talk to y'all soon.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And just last quick item, there's an artist that has served on the North Greenwood CRA Adoption Committee. She's going to also bring a recommendation, or rather a project idea to the board at our next meeting for some sculpture to be placed in North Greenwood. So I'll have that as a presentation at our next meeting. It's been a long meeting this afternoon, but I appreciate your attention and thank you for your questions. And I look forward to seeing you again in the new year. Get cranking.
Thank you. Are there any board members that have anything that they want to add, or?
Yeah, I had a kind of a question for Christopher. Resident and poet Larry Jaffe, he's a beatnik poet. He's done stuff all over the world. He asked me why we don't have a poet laureate. And so I was wondering, would it be most appropriate to ask him to come to our next meeting and present his questions and discuss, or have him contact you? Or
He can certainly contact me, absolutely. Let me go ahead and see what the best way of, in addition to contacting me, to get that question heard, I guess would be the way to phrase it.
Okay.
But he can certainly speak with me, and I will also kind of elevate the question. But if he does want to have a public forum, would it be this or council meeting? Which one would be the most helpful for him?
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else? Any one of our visitors? Okay. Well, if nobody has anything else to add, then 3:33 seems like a good time to adjourn this meeting. Meeting adjourned.